that's what's happened in the ongoing investigation of it, Lucko.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at it here in slow-mo, Neil. So there's your corner, your apex, let's call it right about there. Shane van Gisbergen there, Davey Reynolds there. So let's just quickly go frame by frame, and you can make up your own mind. I reckon there's a little bit of a touch there. You can see Davey's running wide, but the point and the regulation says you cannot overlap before the apex. Let's look. We're nearly there, nearly there. Yeah, there's an overlap there, so I'm just going to remind you. There you go. So apex is about there. He's already overlapped. He's a corner.
Yeah, thanks for the update there, Lucko. It's a handy tool to be able to look at it in super slow-mo and freeze things down there at the Hino hub. Now, meantime, Scott Pye has been having pretty brutal days up to position number 14. He's also been given a warning now for exceeding track limits. The margin, by the way, folks, 0.8 of a second. It's going to light up at the back end. There's more and more. It's actually grey cloud cover out there at the moment, so the track's going to continue to be pretty speedy out there. The UV is diminishing. The temperatures are still high. This race is far from resolved. 9 laps to go. Anton's dropped off a little bit now. He's 5 seconds adrift. Can't really see him too clearly in the background by comparison. But this is far from over at the front end of town. 0.8 of a second is the gap between Feeney and Mostert in position number 2. Can Mostert generate a second win in 2 days? Can Feeney create a first victory ever in his career? And that'd be a fairy tale for him. It's still showing 34 degrees out there at the moment, but the track conditions will change and line it up with a little bit of shade.
I'm sorry, but I used to hate getting told how many laps to go.
I was just going to say.
I would say, don't tell me, just let me drive. That's what I need to do.
Exactly. I was just about to say, don't tell the young bloke there's only 8 laps to go. Just keep your head down and drive it properly. He's driven very, very well today. Just whatever happens from here, Broc Feeney has driven very well today. There's no doubt about that.
He has done an awesome job, and there's been a heap of times where we've looked down at our last lap order here and seeing the number 1, that's Martin Shorty's engineer. So on that last lap, best way to protect the lead, potentially win the race, has been the fastest guy. Broc Feeney was the fastest car out there on the last lap. The second fastest car was James Golding down the order at the moment in 9th position. And the third fastest car was Chaz Mostert. Margin now just opens ever so fractionally again back out to 1 second.
And the reason James Golding is going so fast, he's got a very angry Van Gisbergen climbing towards him. He's 1.5 seconds behind him, so if I was Golding, I'd be trying to get out of there also.
Chaz is using a different line on the run into turn 11, where he's actually using a cushion up on the berm, effectively on the outside of the approach to turn 11. So here is Holdsworth in the foreground, followed by Brodie Kostecki. These fellas are battling for 7th and 8th at the moment. There is in the background the subway entry of James Golding, and in behind James Shane van Gisbergen. They're 23 seconds off the lead of the car race, and it's still 0.8 up the front. 7 laps remain. Holdsworth in his final ever run as a full-time driver. We will see him again. That's a fair whack in the left door of Brodie's car, isn't it?
Definitely got some damage on a lot of these cars. It's been another pretty wild day. Lee Holdsworth, who was caught up in the centre of that controversy with Shane van Gisbergen in his final full-time drive. Lee Holdsworth is 7th, so he's trying to keep Brodie Kostecki at bay. Brodie's very aggressive. James Golding's 1 car back, and he's very fast. And just behind James Golding is one very, very fast Kiwi by the name of Van Gisbergen.
Brodie's doing a cool thing after this weekend. He's got a brand new helmet that's all done in special livery for Erebus, and he's auctioning that off for charity for victims of the South Australian floods. And obviously there's some folks in various parts of Western and Central Western New South Wales and South Australia that have been pretty deeply affected. So all of the funds and the proceeds that he generates off the back of that auction are going to help some people who are doing it a little bit tougher at the moment. So well done to the team and to Brodie. Now that's important, guys, because up front, Mostert's gone quicker in Sector 1 and Feeney's gone quicker in Sector 2 on this lap. 6 laps remain. 0.8 is the margin. It's going to be a nail-biter all the way to the end of this thing. So for Feeney, yesterday in his career was race number 35. He's only done 14 events in the main game, but he's been racing all his life. He's done karting, he's done Toyota 86, he's done Super 2, he's done lots of cool things. He's been Dunlop Series champion, he's been Kumho Series champion. He's had a lot of wins under his belt. If you go through the toilet roll list of what he's done in a go-kart, it's mega. But he has not won a main play supercar race. If he can pull that off today, that will be mega. The guy behind has every intention of ruining that story.
Absolutely. There's the numbers. There's nothing in it. Lap after lap here. The gap is 0.69 right now. And Mostert will be so energised to win the final event for Holden. Broc Feeney will also be energised by the same thing. But as you pointed out, Neil, to have your debut win on the streets of Adelaide for the final factory team effort for the great brand would be extraordinary.
Wasn't there a bloke in 2006 named Wincup that won in car 88 in his first V8 Supercar win?
I reckon it was.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I think it was. Spookily similar, isn't it?
Kind of weird, isn't it? Still a long way to go.
Maximum attack now from both of them. 5 laps remain in Adelaide. This is the conclusion of the Repco Supercars Championship of 2022. James Courtney, excessive use of the track limits over the top of the curb at turn 2. He's got a 5-second penalty hanging over him. 3/4 of a second. Feeney doing everything. Second fastest car on the racetrack last time. The quickest car was Van Gisbergen. He's 10th. And the car that we just got a glimpse of the nose was the 3rd fastest car on the last lap. They have got nothing left, guys. They're fully grip limited under brakes. They're fully grip limited over the top of the curb. They're fully grip limited off the corner, trying to find every last squeak of traction. And no matter how much they feel as though they need to break the rhythm and escape the bounds of the limitations of the grip that they've got, what they've got is what they've got. And Mostert just made a little mistake down there that time.
He did. He had a big slide going, a lot of wheel spin. And that final sector's knocking Mostert around. He was actually on for his fastest lap of the race on that previous lap, and that mistake at the last corner. See how he dumped some time there in that last sector. So 32.9, the fastest for Van Gisbergen. He did a 33.27, so almost 4/10 away in the last sector.
You want to try and hustle. You want to try and create something that can't be created. Right now, the tyres are hot and greasy. The brakes have seen their best. The drivers have probably reached their peak. They're beginning to run out of water. They've played this game solidly now for 2 straight days. It's tough.
It is, it's tough, and mentally it's so hard. They've both got their curb humps left over as well, so they can run through the chicane in the last few laps here as well.
Yes, well, actually both of them have got some lives left, haven't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I heard Adam de Boer say to Mostert a lap ago that you haven't been warned yet about your life through turn 2. So there's the 2 organisations. Triple 8 on top. Below, Ryan Walkinshaw and Bruce Stewart from Walkinshaw Andretti United. A 1-2 battle. It's a very fitting way to finish this final Holden event with 2 factory teams, 1-2. Still yet to be resolved as to what the order is, but a very fitting way to tribute the brand.
The fastest car on the racetrack in the last lap was Chaz Mostert. We're getting a glimpse of him just in the background and trying to make ground to close off these last few metres to have a lunge. He's running out of time. For Feeney and his supporters and his team, this is going to be huge.
Feeney is so close at this apex. You watch how close he is at the apex. Every lap, he makes the apex slightly later than what Mostert does. But when he does it, he runs the right-hand wheel right against that inside guardrail. There is no margin there.
I don't mind it though, because you're not putting yourself up in the dirty stuff either.
Yeah.
So, but I tell you what, these next 2 laps, I'll be running straight to the chicane if I'm Broc. I'll be using all my lights.
100%. Yep.
Coming into the final corner now. When they square it up and run down pit straight, we've got 2 laps remaining. It's officially 3/4 of a second. The cars have seen their best. This is going to be maximum qualifying attack to the end. We hope you're enjoying this show. We hope you've enjoyed the 2022 Championship season show. It has been mega, and it's going to finish with a gigantic crescendo as they throw these cars over the top of the curbs and give it their all. Right now, Broc Feeney is on target to do something pretty special.
They both just drove those things across that curb at turn 2 like they're never going to drive them again. It's pretty much right.
His dad, Paul, was a racer. He was a superbike racer. It's in the blood. They've been racing all their lives. This young bloke has been running with a steering wheel in his hands since he was a kid. He's opened the margin. There's 1.5 to go. It's now 1 second. Has Chaz got anything in response? Di Pasquale has dropped off. He's now 7.5 seconds behind Mostert. This has been a critical corner. Nobody can afford to blink and make a mistake through turn 11. 0.9955 officially the margin between the two cars.
Broc Feeney has done enough on that lap to take some pressure off himself on the final lap. That was a critical lap. Give me the numbers because he was, again, slightly faster. He was the second fastest car. Van Gisbergen was fastest, but he was a lot faster than Mostert.
Scott McLaughlin is nervously shuffling in here like he's driving the lead car. This is a big, big lap for Broc Feeney. His family are watching. His team are watching. Martin Short, his engineer, will not blink, will not breathe. Roland Day dare not take a breath. All of the sponsor group in the background are watching this. They've invested in Broc Feeney. They took a punt. He's 6th in the championship. He's staring at the numbers. He's got to tackle this critical corner one more time at 8. He pops out the other side. He's got just over a second in hand. Now the critical braking application into turn 9. Out the other side. He's got to negotiate the highly slippery turn 11 one more time. And he clears that process. He did it shallow. He's done it easily. He's got a 1 second margin. He's got to put the foot on the brake for that final opportunity to stop this car. And he pulls it up nice and straight. At the apex of the turn, Broc Feeney advances the throttle. Broc Feeney, take a bow. Your very first supercar victory. They can't pass before they get to the control line. We are going racing to the checkered flag in what's going to be a vigorous ball. And not a bad restart here by Broc, who's at the control line, got a second on them already. So he's blazed on down the road.
What was going on there with Golding?
He's pulled off to the inside.
Fix that now.
So he's carried the best part of a second into the recommencement of the race. So that's handy to also have up your sleeve in this critical final phase.
It's going to be interesting. Just straight away, the level of road that they're using and the amount of throttle, straight away you can see the vigor coming off turn 4. They're less concerned with 18 laps remaining, and to your point, mightn't be 18 anyway. We'll do the numbers to see how many laps that actually turns into to understand. So it might be effectively 2 laps under based on the numbers that you just rolled out. So really 16 laps remaining.
17:53 on the clock, plus 1 lap to the checkered flag. 0.6 of a second.
That's okay. 14 laps to go.
Confirming exactly that in the background. 3/4 of a second, the gap between Feeney and Kostecki. Brown in 3rd place, Van Gisbergen, Heimgartner, Payne. He's been flying. The youngster's done a superlative job this afternoon flying the forward flag from Davison. Di Pasquale, Slade, Goddard's done a ripper job with Lowndes. He's in the top 10.
So let me just reassure you straight away after our discussion around Feeney's pace, he did a 10.8 on that lap straight away.
And the positioning of the car as it came out of turn 4 then. Oh, we've got a car turned around in the background, a tradie entry, and they're scrambling all around Declan Fraser there at the moment. And we've also got car 55 messed up in that. They get it all sorted out. Gary Jacobson is in that car at present, in the Castrol car. So 0.4 of a second is the gap between Feeney and Kostecki, but I was about to make the remark that watching where Broc had the car position exiting 4, it's like watching a car on a quali lap. There were thousandths of an inch to the right-hand side of the road where the concrete wall is. So get set, tense up, tighten up those belts at home. This is going to be a beauty. We've got 16 to go, less a lap or two because of time certainty. 17:53 plus 1 lap. Feeney and Kostecki. Brown, we've talked about the battle between Red Bull and Coca-Cola, and it's brewing up to be a significant battle.
How's the numbers? 10-5 for Feeney, 10-3 for Kostecki, 10-5 for Brown, 10-5 for Van Gisbergen, 10-5 for Heimgartner.
And the championship leader has got the eyes on the youngster that's got control of the race at the moment. He's got the margin back to 0.4 of a second. At the restart, that was 1 second. He skipped away slightly, Kostecki, from his teammate Brown. They are operating at the limit at the end of the back straight. Tyre life is the last thing on their mind at the moment as they pitch them up and over the curbing at turn 9. They are maximum attack.
And to your point, does Brody have a fire down the inside, have a dive at Feeney based on the championship stuff going on? Because remember, Van Gisbergen's further back. So in terms of championship, he's already got a gap to Van Gisbergen that will be extended. The risk of getting by and doing a big, bold move could be disastrous.
He's right with him. It's officially 0.3, but it's a couple of car lengths, and the curb cam shows you how aggressive they are over the top of the curbing. Kostecki is right with Feeney. He's within striking distance now between 3 and 4. Does he have a sniff up the inside? There's marbles to negotiate. They've got him up on the rocks on the inside at turn 4, and now Kostecki might get a little bit of drafting benefit up the back straight. He's right on it, filling the mirrors. He'll have a bit of a look, up, down, round. Can he get down the inside at turn 9? He's making a tiny bit of ground based on the slipstream. 5th gear, over the top of the hill, fully grip limited.
We missed out.
He's wide. Broc's gone wide down there at 9. Brody gets that little bit closer. It's now 0.2 of a second. And a 15-second time penalty, car 25 for a driving infringement. Chaz Mostert. It's on, out of the final corner. They're racing each other. They're racing the clock. This is going to be 2 or 3 laps short of the mark. And we've got absolutely nothing in it. 0.18 of a second, and the championship leader's thinking about it. He's up high. Tries to turn it down shallow. He's putting enormous pressure on Feeney.
Moved it over. Broc had to move it over. Then he knew that Kostecki was going to have a plunge down the inside. Does he do it here now? Does he do it now? Almost.
Now that's checked up Brody. That means Will's going to get a better corner exit out of turn 4. So that little dive cost him. They're dropping back a couple of car lengths. Brown's got the best seat in the house. There's nothing between the top 3 cars at the moment. And only 2 seconds behind is Van Gisbergen with the headlights on. That allowed Brown back into the game. Great battle going on here. Now Brody gets it up and over that curbing down there at turn 9 where he ideally wants to position the car. Now he's got a claw back. That little lunge between 3 and 4 just hurt him ever so slightly.
Broc's just been told, getting behind, they're going to burn their tyres off trying to get by. So, Broc with huge pressure. Series leader right behind him. And his teammate, nothing behind also. On that lap, 10-6 for Feeney. Compromise lap, obviously, that one for Kostecki, 11-1. 10-9 for Brown, 10-7 for Van Gisbergen.
Not a bad time to pluck a 10-6 out of the barrel, because that's given him a little bit of a cushion. He's got 0.6 of a second now over Kostecki. That's an enormous margin to be playing with at the moment. And how's that for a statement? When you've got 0.6 of a second, it's hardly a time to relax, but it's taken a bit of the heat out of what's going on out there at the moment. Feeney's hanging on. We've seen supreme maturity in his racecraft, but he's under an extreme amount of pressure here in one of the premier races on our calendar. And if he can hang on here, that's going to be a mega result. But these 2 behind are throwing everything at it. Whincup co-drove in the opening stints of the race, and he didn't put a foot wrong. That's the engineering group on the right-hand side of screen at Coca-Cola Racing. George Collins with the beard on the right-hand side. Tom Moore. George looks after Brody. Tom looks after Will. Nothing in it, Mark. 0.5 of a second between first and second, and it's about 0.4 of a second back to Brown.
Jamie Whincup looking on with real intensity.
How's the delta? 10.5 on the last lap, Feeney. 10.5 for Kostecki, 10.6 for Brown. Their best laps are 10.4, 10.3, 10.5. They're almost back at peak speed at the back end of the race.
Absolutely. When you're looking at Whincup with that studied look, remember he's had 5 victories here. He's looking for his 6th. The history of this event, Broc's won 9. Moffat's won 6, Lowes has won 6. Can Whincup equal some of the sports legends today again with his numbers to win a 6th Sandown 500?
Brody threw it so hard off the end of the back straight then that it sat right up over the top of the turn 7 curving. He is doing everything he can. Speed check. What have we got for lap speed for Feeney? It's a 10.5. 10.5 for Kostecki, 10.5 for Brown. This is driving at its peak.
Have a look at the lead numbers.
I know.
Those lead numbers are remarkable. 10.51, 10.58, 10.58, 10.59, 10.1.
Including young Matt Payne.
Yep.
So he's come on in leaps and bounds. His drive at the bend was superlative. His drive today, absolutely pristine. He's matching the best in the business there in the background at the moment in the Penrite entry, and he's sitting in 5th position. So that is a great statement from everybody at the sharp end of the game at the moment about consistent, fast, mistake-free driving. Nothing in it, and almost back to the best numbers that some of them did way back earlier in the race. 0.5 of a second between Feeney and Kostecki. It's another half second back to Brown. Watching up in the top right-hand corner for Broc Feeney, who's a picture of concentration.
There's a problem with the timing at the moment. Heimgartner listed on our totem as 14th. He's actually 5th. He's in front of Payne, remember? So on the track, you can see him there behind. He's just in the back of the shot. There's a glitch in the timing. Okay.
Hard to take my eyes off what's going on here up front at the moment. Love these intense battles where the drivers are at one with their cars. They can feel every crack and crevice. They've got a perfect picture of the balance of the car and the available grip at both ends and what they can get away with in braking intensity and what they can ask of the car in traction delivery. An ultimate connection through their hands and their backsides is exactly what these motor cars are doing, and they are driving them to the 100% limit at the moment. Chasing success. It's still 0.5 between the first two, and Brody's just gone so fast that he might improve his own fastest lap on this lap. So at the moment, he's trending towards doing the fastest lap in the race. The conditions are coming to them. The sun's going down. We're in full shadow. There's a little bit of cloud here and there, and the battle is on at the moment. But young Broc has not flinched. We're watching the clock. It's 17:47 and about to be 17:48. At 53 plus 1 lap, it's game over.
Feeney's just done his fastest lap of the race at a 10.34 on lap 152.
It's great. 10.5 last lap for Brody. The last sector wasn't quite as strong for him. 10.9 for Will Brown. He just wilted slightly on that lap. 10.5 for Van Gisbergen, 10.8 for Heimgartner, and then 10.7 for Payne. So Heimgartner, as you said, that was missing in action on the timing. He's in this little battle as well, and he's got good lap speed. Roaring up the back straight now. It's 17:48. We've got a little less than 5 minutes remaining. 0.8 of a second, that gap that you're looking at right there. They're throwing everything at this guy, but do they have enough? They're barely hanging on by their fingernails at the moment in second and third. If anything, Brown could be vulnerable here to Van Gisbergen.
So at the end of this lap, there is 5 to go. We've put the time up now on your totem. It's only 4 minutes remaining. 5 laps to go. The end of this one, and everyone on the radio telling people that this has been a momentous final stint for these young guys because they are pressing on every lap like a qualifying lap. And look at the intensity in the garages. Co-drivers on the right there, Perkins and Russell, Stanaway and Jeremy Moore looking on in the 888 garage, because this is big-time stuff for Feeney, trying to hold off the current series leader, Kostecki, who had the best tyre degradation in the previous run. Up to the safety car, had the best tyre deg of the field.
But has 5 lap. Off the road, off the road. The Erebus car's plunged off to the right-hand side of the road over the top of the hill, and Will Brown's run wide. He's gifted a position to Van Gisbergen. Jack knows the implications. So a mistake. A mistake that's been costly, unfortunately, for Will Brown. And that was an easy one for Van Gisbergen. The tyres are in favour of Feeney here at the moment in terms of their age. 5 laps in favour of Broc, but there's been nothing in it. Here's the replay of what happened. So he's gone in so deep with the pressure from Van Gisbergen at the end of the back straight. He's run it wide, and it made it very easy for Shane to grease down the inside. He's up on the podium now, position number 3. Here's the view.
I reckon that might have been a down change. I reckon he got 4th.
He did.
Yeah.
I reckon he got a double hit there.
He did. He got 4th, I reckon, by the sound of the engine and the way that the engine reacted, meaning it tried to lock the wheels, it fired him wide. I reckon that was a double hit of change.
5th and 4th, because normally only back 1 gear at the end of the back straight. What tension. Feeney has now got a 1.2-second lead. He has not flinched. What an outstanding performance. And what a way to prepare yourself for the Repco Bathurst 1000 coming up in October. Our next event on the Supercars calendar.
Still got a couple of laps remaining.
You reckon that you just hold it for a little bit longer before you fold it?
Before you start rolling that out, it's so intense. That little mistake there with Will Brown is an example of just what could go wrong. But with younger tyres, remember they've done 11 laps versus Kostecki with 16 laps. With younger tyres, it looks like he's just able to hold him off at this point. But we're going to be reserved because there's only effectively a minute remaining. Really, three laps, because he's got to do a lap after the time certain number.
Look at this margin's crushing down here.
Yep.
Brody's sliding around here. They're slightly younger tyres from memory on Shane's car as well. I think they're 4 laps, yes, they're 4 laps younger, the tyres on Shane's car. And that'll be handy. Look at this. Those headlights are getting bigger in the mirror at turns 11 and 12. 1.3 seconds the gap, Feeney to Kostecki.
2 laps to go.
17:52 and 35 seconds when the clock clicks through 17:53. It's plus that lap. That's the margin between 2nd and 3rd in the Sandown 500 event dying Repco Supercars Championship. Thrilling conclusion of the Penrite Oil Sandown 500. Nothing in it at the back end of this race. We've had a couple of safety car interventions, some weird moments. Commenced all the way back in the early afternoon with Garth Tander going out with that left rear tyre and wheel coming off that car and parting company. We're riding with Van Gisbergen. That's the margin to 2nd at the moment. He's chasing the championship leader from the viewpoint of the guy that came into the round in position number 2.
So in terms of the championship, this is 1 and 2 in the championship. Looking from Shane to Kostecki, 137 points was the margin coming into the weekend. But Broc Feeney, with very, very experienced and highly credentialed co-driver in Jamie Whincup, 1 more lap remaining. You can probably do what you were going to say before now.
Well, I didn't doubt it at the time, because the confidence that we've all got in Broc from the way in which he's been driving this year and delivering wins, podiums and poles, you know, he hasn't looked like a guy that was about to be shaken out of position. So we're inside that final lap now. We've got time certain. He's holding his margin steady at 1 second. He's got a handful of corners to run. What a stunning performance from him today. He's come into the round with 5 victories in his supercar career. He set the world on fire for GM at the back end of last year's championship in Adelaide. He had his family in tears. His dad Paul was watching that one, and he's here again today to witness this. He's a master of his craft, and he's only a youngster. He slides it out of turn 9 over the top of the curb. He's letting a little bit of that margin drift. He's only got to do a couple of corners now, get it back to second gear for one last time, and he lines it up through the final corner. And the apprentice today has joined the master. Feeney and Whincup are the winners of the Sandown 500 for 2023. 9.
Now, this will either look marvellous and you'll get by Broc and it'll be great, and then the tyres will be absolutely destroyed.
Put my faith in Will here. He'll know what it feels like beneath him at the moment, and that car was clearly very well adjusted. Yeah. The numbers that it's shown us in the first 2 stints of the race has been very impressive, and he's been quick all weekend. He dropped into a rhythm here very rapidly with all conditions as Ryan Wood and Bryce Forward now in the lane. Bryce joining him and Ryan's departed.
Do they let them race? Or is there some chat?
We've asked about that policy before, and the answer has been race, but don't trip over each other. There you go. Filling in the blanks for us, so, and that's exactly what you'd expect, certainly at this point in the championship as well. A couple of budding young professionals, even though they're young numerically, they've got a massive amount of motorsport experience across both of them. If you look at their CV, they've been champions over and over and over from a very young age, so motor racing is not a new trick for them. They know it inside out. The fellow that's second at the moment, he's got a speedy car and he's been using it pretty well all weekend. So is he going to be able to pull a nice clean move? We're about to find out. Will Davison in the background also just unhappy with the behaviour of his car at the moment in position number 8. Craig, what are your observations?
Yes, I can only see really turn 7. They're approaching you now. What I can actually tell you is I can see their hands on the steering wheel. Will is actually, and you keep saying, hustling this car. He can get it rotated faster in that mid-corner and then get a better drive off, where Broc has really got a very smooth application on the steering, which indicates to me that he's got a bit of push. He can't rotate it as fast as what Will can.
Nothing in it at the moment. Thank you for the update, Craig Lowndes. Fastest lap of the race belongs to Will Brown. He's the only driver that's been able to achieve a 27 in this race so far. And he's almost put his signature on the rear bumper of his teammate's car down here at turn 11. They've got little strengths and weaknesses of their own in different spots. Now, is he going to have a plunge down the inside here on the trail brake into turn 12? No. I think risky spot to do it.
Well, Broc was pretty deep, wasn't he? He wasn't blocking, and he was super deep.
The problem is they also diagonal to that apex down there at 12, so what looks like a gap diminishes pretty quickly down there. If you stick your nose in, you can get it bruised rapidly. Turn 1. He's up a little bit higher at the initial part of the turn, in a bit shallow on the way out. Did he give him a little kiss there? He's close.
I think 5 was the go. So he'll get a run out of 2, up through 3, across the curb at 4, and down the inside at 5. It's not close enough this time.
Is there a bigger pain in the butt than leading a race, but you're being pressured by your teammate?
No.
Because that's like the worst nightmare. You know, you work hard to be in the lead of a motor race, and you want to have a relaxed afternoon in that regard, but it's anything but when you've got your own guy in the background there. Meantime, keeping an eye on what's going on here at the moment, because Chaz Mostert's speedy and he's hunting Anton de Pasquale at the moment. Matt Payne's the driver in behind him. Let's go to Chad.
Yeah, grabbed a quick word with Adam Austin, the engineer for Ryan Wood, and said, what's with the extra pit stop? His response, we're going for it. And speaking of going for it, the teammates are at it.
Side by side, this could get awkward down here as Will Brown tries to find a unique line around the outside at turn 11. They're racing cleanly, but they're racing hard at the moment. Exit onto the back straight. Nothing between them. And the problem for Will is you'll end up using more of everything in this pursuit, and he'll have to be very cautious of that. He's going to try and make his gain in such a way that it doesn't end up dragging too much out of the tyres. Had to think about it, showed the nose, just to annoy him, just to show some colour in the mirror, but he's well and truly aware of the logo on the car. He gave him a little bit of a helping hand there on the exit of turn 1. He's up the inside here at 2. He's got the whole thing parked all the way to the right on the top of the green concrete down there, Will Brown. Left, right, leaning on the car, asking the tyres to do a huge amount of work here. Turn 5. Will Brown's been a champion in a whole bunch of categories in his rise to the top. It's a new deal for him in 2024 to join the Red Bull team, and he's given him another little nudge here. That was a bigger one. That wasn't just Morse code, that was a thump.
Yep. And that run off turn 9 is the critical one for Will Brown. He hasn't been able to get off there well enough to position himself close enough for the braking area of 11.
So Craig's observation of Will is pretty accurate here. So he's able to park it ideally and run out around the inside there at turn 11. He actually used a bit of rear tyre coming out there. He had it wagging the tail, Will Brown. Broc is not able to quite get the car positioned to the exact same spot, but he's got track position at the moment, and he's not flinching. He has not blinked at the moment. Now, Ryan Wood's gone out there on the fresh tyre, by the way. He's down in 18th and going for it, as Chad described. He's done a 27.6, but he's 49 seconds from the lead of the race. So even though he's got fresh tyres and has gone for a different sequence of stops to do it, he's got a lot of ground to make up, but he does have speed. Here's the battle for the lead. How's the amount of curb that Will's using there at turn 2? And the car parked all the way to the right. Here we go, big dive down the inside. Tight, tight, tight. There's nothing between it. They're trying to stay off each other, but have a vigorous race at the same time. Trying to get power to the road. That's hurting the rear tyres. It's 16 seconds back to Di Pasquale, and they are watching very closely in the garage at Red Bull. Mark Dutton has seen this once or twice before.
He certainly has. And this is the critical corner. He's got a better run this time. That's the best run he's had. That's the critical corner. Now, he's parked himself. He's on the wrong side of the road here, but he'll try to crisscross. He'll try to run him into the corner and turn back on the inside. And Broc's having none of it.
Nothing to do with any of that. There's nowhere to go down there at turn 11 when you're on the outside. It's adding meterage.
Keep it up, mate.
We dare not take our eyes from it. No, into the final complex. Lost a little bit of ground in that manoeuvre. 9 laps remaining. Just inside 30-odd kilometres. Still a bit to do with these tyres before you get to the end. Broc's having to carry the brake a long way into the corner into turn 1.
What tends to happen with these sorts of things is the level of frustration gets higher and higher and higher for the overtaker. And so for Will, it's hard not to actually get real red-faced and get real angry about trying to get by and end up making a little mistake.
And the frustration level correlates to the tyre temperature on the rear. There's a graph. Now, he's actually pulled that margin back down again, so it's evident that he's got the pace, but if he's going to make the move, it's got to be clean. They've been told on the radio. And the problem is that he's strong here through 8 and 9, Will Brown, but Broc is awake up to it and makes him go down here at turn 11. If he can kid him into overrunning down here, he'll get down the inside. And Broc's having none of it. We saw laser focus from him in that first big victory in Adelaide. We've seen quite a number of occasions where Broc's concentration and his ability to manage pressure has been really impressive.
What he's doing also, if you notice, he's not blocking it all under brakes here, but the little kink in the road and the kink at turn 10 before 11 allows him to essentially block at turn 11.
Now, Will got a better exit that time out of turn 14. He did a nice job of negotiating 12 and 13, but it's such a short, sharp run down there, and there's kind of nowhere to go down here at turn 1. Martin Short's the engineer on the right-hand side of screen.
Still thinking into 5 is his answer. He's got to be able to come off that one well, and he's got a little run over the rise. He's got the whole car across the inside, and down the inside he plunges. But now they're alongside each other. does Broc give it away? Broc does just release the throttle a little bit, and finally, Will Brown is able to execute that manoeuvre.
How is the positioning of the car there for Will Brown? As Wilder does his stuff. And he's a deserving young champion.
It's the tyres being blown off it. How do you like the Dunlop skin? Well done.
Dunlop soft tyres and Elm Springs going cheap. Please apply within.
Genuine interest only.
Only one owner. Go Will. Soak it up. Enjoy. What a great moment. And what a drive. What a way to put a full stop on a championship campaign that has featured pole positions, race victories and plenty of them, and an extraordinary run of consistency. Will be feeling absolutely no pain. And he is loving it, and great to see such an enthusiastic response from our fans this afternoon here in Adelaide. We're going to hear now for those that have made it onto the podium. Let's get to Jess. First in, they didn't get quite the sugar out of the second try, because when he came back out, there was certainly a lot more traffic, but also these guys had margin in hand as well. So you're trying to get an immediate sugar hit, but it doesn't necessarily play out the other end. Let's go to Garth.
Guys, the majority of the field have done their second stop, and it's going to be a two-stop race. So you'd think most of the pit stop crew are going to go get changed, put the wheels away, they're done for the day. But we're right in the window that is a late race safety car. Every team up and down pit lane's got a spare set of tyres laid out, because if you're one of the early stoppers, like a Cam Waters or a Brodie Kostecki, you might roll the dice, come in, grab that third set of tyres and get back out on a fresh set of tyres for a late race restart. That might vault you to the front. The only problem is, if you're Brodie Kostecki and this is his set, look how average they are that are going to go on the car. But that will still be better than what's going to finish the race if they stay with what they've got.
Spare a thought for these drivers. We're approaching 1 hour 20 with 11 laps to go. I had a quick look at the cabin temperatures of the cool drive car of Aaron Cameron. It's hovering around 45 degrees ambient, which is on par with normally the 20 plus. But the trusty cool suit's operating at 3 degrees. So the cool drive car is nice and cool inside. But further to Larko's point about the fuel connection, sometimes a bit of driver fatigue sets in, and I've seen a few drivers not stopping on the marks in the pit stop. So that's where the fuel connection needs to start, stopping on the mark. Something for co-drivers like myself and Garth to start thinking about as we head into Tailem Bend and Bathurst.
It's a good pickup, Jack. It's really critical. We've seen a lot of it, haven't we? But nothing's changed. It's really all about the connection. When we have a look at it, fuel in there and air goes in here. So the coupling's got to be precise. These are the little latches with your fingers that when you plug in, you've got to get, see this little raised section here? It's got to grab onto that and engage beautifully to allow the, it's not so much the fuel going in, it's as much the air coming out. You've got to displace the fuel going in with the air coming out. So if that doesn't engage absolutely perfectly, it still flows, but it won't flow at the 5 litres a second that's required. So I've seen 6-second stops down there today, and I've seen 9s.
It's critical. And the been rehearsing and rehearsing up and down the pit lane, but in the heat of battle, it's a different deal to in the workshop. You pit stop practice in the morning before breakfast. James Golding will have a look and see what's going on there. We're keeping a very close eye, though, on the margin first to second at the moment, because that's only 0.6 of a second. Golding making a pass here on Kirstecki, getting down the inside.
It's a real mystery with what happened to Brodie today with his pace. He's just gone backwards and really unsure as to what the reason is. So we'll follow that up for you as we close out the day. He's way back into 15th. He's riding back there with Randall still.
So is Will Brown going to stay on the attack and literally have a crack at trying to wrestle the lead from Broc Feeney, or not? It's an interesting question, Mark Larkin.
Scafey, to go to your point about Kirstecki, you know, we rolled out that horrible stat earlier in the weekend. This year, he's the top of the list for going backwards from when the weekend starts. And here we are again this week at Townsville. Starts off like a ripper and then starts to go backwards after the weekend. So I'm sure something the team is going to look at. Now, in contrast that, can I just add, 888 again. They come out on Friday, they're no good, and they go forward in the weekend. We said they see that all the time. They share their information with 8 other cars down the pit lane. Those cars don't go forward. Tells you a lot about the little secret to how you've got to drive the 888 setup.
Yeah, well, it's not just about the driving, it's about actually tuning the car to the evolving track conditions, and they are the best at it. They've been the best at it for a long time. You look at the winners of this place. Jamie Whincup has had 12 wins at this location, so they've been the benchmark at understanding this layout and what you would do to make the car nice through the course of the weekend.
An impressive run here for Will Brown when you stop to consider that he qualified in 7th position and he's now exactly 0.5 of a second away from the lead of the motor race, and he's continuing to steam on, and he's showing no sign of taking his foot off the throat of Broc Feeney, who is his teammate and leads the race chat.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Because they had that little chat over the radio about pit preference. There was no chat about can they fight each other on the racetrack, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Also want to put a little underline under Ryan Wood, guys. That guy is flying right now, about half a second quicker than Randall, Di Pasquale and Payne. You look at spots inside the top 10 with Cam Hill at the back today. Ryan Wood might be about to bust himself inside the finals. All those guys, Di Pasquale, Randall, Wood, Fullwood, Allen, they're all just about that area right now with Andre Heimgartner fighting for spots inside the top 10. But this fight at the lead is also one to watch too.
Well, just looking at that fight for the lead between Broc Feeney and Will Brown, watching that intently, Jamie, are there team orders? Do they need to hold stations, or are they allowed to fight it to the end?
The only thing I request is don't run into each other. So no, they're gonna race hard to the end. So we'll see what we'll see. Car one's very quick at the moment, so I'm pretty sure he'll probably have a lunge at some stage. But the only thing I hope is they don't run into each other, and we've got to be a little bit wary of Moss that he's 10 seconds back, so we can't get too silly either.
You did say go hard or go home just before, didn't you?
Yeah, well, the punters are here for a race, so we want to give them what they want.
Love it. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you, cheers.
It's still half a second. Now, by virtue of that great pace that Ryan Wood's showing, I'm just giving you a reference here as to where we are in terms of the top 10 in the championship as we approach the back end of the Repco Sprint Cup. So if you call the reference line a 0, that gives you pluses and minuses in points. So just inside are Randall, Heimgartner, Wood. Just outside at the moment are Hill and Allen. And that becomes critically important when we get to the Sunday night at Bathurst.
Yeah, so that's basically an improvement in the green there for Ryan Wood and Thomas Randall with today's performance. And Cam Hill, who's had a shocker, he's down in 24th after that brake drama. And now we've got Feeney with a 15.1 on that lap and Brown with a 15.3. Where's the... Oh, no, it's just chat in the background. I thought it was one of the Red Bull guys talking, but it wasn't. It was Will Davison talking about what was going on in his world.
Margins keep going backwards and forwards between about 0.5 and 0.7 of a second. Jamie's underlined the point here, which is that they are free to race, but they are not free to crunch into each other. Pasquale and Randall.
Nice way of explaining it.
Yeah, 6 and 7 at the moment. So nice work to be inside the top 10 again for Di Pasquale today. So solid performance gains here from Team 18 in the last several races. And here is Wood that we talked about a moment ago, blazing up into position number 8. So that's good speed. Qualified in 10th position for this one.
But Anton did a really good job yesterday to hold LeBlanc off at the end of the race. In fact, Anton jumped 3 positions in the championship yesterday afternoon because he was able to keep them at bay. So the pressure on now, with 6 laps to go. Can he keep Randall behind, and can they keep Wood behind? Because Ryan Wood is pressing on hard. And just up in front of Anton is Matt Payne.
The time management for Feeney in the early part of his stints is now starting to give him dividend at the back end. So as the pressures come on from Brown, he has just started to open up a tiny little bit more margin again. Richard Harris was the voice in the background. He's the engineer for Ryan Wood. So I'm watching the splits at the moment across each of the sectors, and it's just Feeney by a margin everywhere at the moment. It's just taking a tiny bit of the heat out of it. It's got it out to almost 0.8 of a second. We'll have the eyes on him. And consider the traffic that he's had to deal with, the cars he's had to pass from position 7 to get to the fringe of the lead of the motor race. It's been an impressive performance. So a couple of other notables also that worth talking about inside that top 10 on the totem as well at the moment, Mark. So not only Wood, but forward inside that 10, together with Kai Allen, another top 10 run for him here as well. Yeah, Nick Percat's actually recovered pretty well today because he qualified down in 23rd position. And as the whole day's unthreaded, he's moved up now into the, well, beyond the midfield. He's up in position number 12. Goldie's just moved up on his teammate to position number 13.
Yes, so to your point, forward up 7 spots, Heimgartner up 10, Percat up at 11, Colin Jones up 9. So there's been some real moves made through the field.
And that tells you that they were far away from what their potential was in qualifying, for whatever the reason may be. Ran out of time, wrong place, wrong time, pressure's wrong, set up wrong. That as race cars, they've been able to apply better pace.
And the same thing applies when you think about where Brown and Mostert qualified. They're both on 5 positions. So as race cars, they're clearly better than what they were in qualifying mode.
1 second margin now between these two. It's hard to pick it on the screen. But that's 0.3 of a second. It's opened up in the favour of Broc Feeney. You'll take it all day long, particularly when you get to the back end of the race and you've got 4 to go.
Well, Will had little headlights on, didn't he? He was coming at him, and it was only half a second behind. So Broc's actually had to respond, and he has responded.
6th, 7th and 8th on screen here at the moment, and the way that Ryan Wood's hustling, he might even change that order I've just read out. He's in the moment 126 car, Ryan's car through turn 10, and ranging closer to the back of the Castrol engine here of Thomas Randall. Very close. In fact, that was a proper plummet.
Going to spear him then.
Just under 130,000 people have graced the precinct here this weekend. And we hope they've had a wonderful weekend of supercar action. We've certainly had lots of cool things going on in the periphery all around the precinct. 3 days of action. And thanks to the organising group up here, the Northern Territory Government, and all the supercars for putting on another big event here in Townsville. We've been coming here since 2009. And we love every second of it when you can escape, particularly the cooler temperatures down south, to be able to come up here and spend several days and enjoy this part of the world, beautiful part of the world. This is on, so Woody could pull a move here by the time they get down to turn 11. He had the full Desperado and the size 10 on the brake pedal down there last time. He's slightly overran the corner, but he's a bit closer this time. Thomas, that's an uncomfortable feel.
A little slide then, Thomas. So he made a little mistake on the way out of turn 6. He got a little bit too much oversteer going on the way out of 7, 8, and 9 also. So Ryan would be trying to get through turn 10 nicely and then have a plunge. But I reckon what Ryan's decided to do, and I think is probably clever, is just to bide his time. He's probably better off to come out of 11 and through 12 with a little bit better pace and make a move at the final corner. So he's just trying to work out where he's got the most advantage over Thomas Randall. And with only 2 to go, and remember I was critical of Thomas not properly blocking down here at turn 2. Now, Ryan Wood's way too far back from Randall now, so he doesn't need to block down there at the moment. But what he's going to have to do is make his mind up as to where he positions the Castrol Mustang to keep Ryan Wood at bay. Nice job through turn 3 for both of them. And Anton De Pasquale, he'll be sitting up there going, go Woody go, because as much pressure as he can put on Randall, that keeps the pressure off Anton. And he'll be looking in the mirror to see what's going on there with Thomas Randall and what the fight becomes and how that assists Anton to keep the pressure off. Now he's Ryan now, so he's come up there really well. Nice execution, beautifully done, well done.
And Thomas saw it coming and he was on the wrong side of the road. He came out of the throttle, made it easier. All round for both parties. Richard Harris was closer to camera. On to go. And a nice move there at the back end of the race by Ryan would bring him up into 7th position behind Di Pasquale. Payne not far up the road. Consider that we've been racing for an hour and 28 minutes. Payne, Di Pasquale, Wood, Randall, all pretty close. There they are. So just tiny fractions in it. Remember the fuel delivery challenges for Payne have hurt that cause because he started off the front row and that was in his first stop where they had some challenges. So we're on our last lap. That margin that we were talking up at one stage with the possibility of there being a challenge and potentially a change for the lead, that's all gone away. Broc Feeney's now got 2.5 seconds over his teammate. It's been another charging drive this afternoon on his way to another podium, Chaz Mostert, but he's ended up being the best part of 10 odd seconds behind, so he can't throw punches from that distance. So as the shadows lengthen, Broc Feeney now makes his run into the final corner. He can roll gently through here, take no risk. Heading towards the checkered flag, and for the second day in succession, Broc Feeney owns Townsville. Further consolidating the grip that he has on the Repco Supercars Championship. He's on a roll. 2nd place to Will Brown. 3rd place to Chaz Mostert to come across the line now. And 4th place to Cam Waters, who didn't have the firepower with those older tyres in the end, but a bold strategy play was worth the try. Followed by Payne, followed by Di Pasquale, by a charging Ryan Wood at the back end, from Thomas Randall, from Bryce Fullwood, Kai Allen out 10. But this is the man. So Feeney just continues to impress. There's the trio that are on their way to the Pertec victory lane. And maximum points again for Broc Feeney this afternoon, 120 of those, 120 for him yesterday. Fastest lap of the race, not applying for the 5 points for Jack Le Brocq despite his new lap record because he ended up down in 19th position at the end. As Broc sends a nice little smoke signal to the crowd that this place is mine.
Certainly is, and remember the domination that we've seen Broc experience through the course of 2025. He's run out of fuel here, Jack Le Brocq, and he's going to just sneak straight over the line here and pull over to the right-hand side. But now, after his first win yesterday, Broc Feeney gets his 2nd win on the streets of Townsville and his 22nd career win. And what a year he's having, Neil, because when you think about how tough this weekend was, and the car wasn't that great earlier in the weekend, they've continued to tune this car. He's driven it better. They've tuned it to perfection. And to dominate this race today, a remarkable effort again. And that must be, what, his 10th win for the season, is that right? He's done that there now with John Raleigh.
While you were hunting stats, it looked like he was about to get lost on the grass in there.